In this trading video, let's talk about the importance of knowing how to trade gaps properly. So, not all gaps are created equal, and the gaps that we're going to talk about today are gaps on the index futures, which would be the Dow, the S&P, the NASDAQ, and the Russell. So in this case scenario right now, when I'm shooting this video, it's 3/26 is the actual day, and we had a very big gap to the high side, to the upside. Now what is a gap? A gap opening is where the futures reopen in the pit. So most index futures close at 4:15 p.m. So they closed, let me use a marker here. In this example, you can see that they closed on this bar, and then on the next day at 9:30, they are opening on this bar. Now, there is Globex that trades all night long, and most index futures only shut down anywhere from 15 to 45 minutes and then reopen. So you don't have to worry about them gapping up against you as a trade so much as it is the pit volume. So now we have a gap opening from the 4:15 close to the 9:30 open. And then what you want to know is you want to know where it closed yesterday, 13,032, and where it's opening at this morning. And this morning it opened up at 13,101. So that's about a 60 plus gap. It's more than 60 points. If at any time on the Dow, if you get a gap up that's more than 60 points, it's usually going to be a professional gap up. In other words, it's going to gap up and go higher. It's the percentages, all right? If you have a gap that is lower than 60 points on the Dow, it has a really good chance of actually trading lower. And the percentages are as this. It has about an 82% chance of doing a half a gap fill. In other words, opening up here and closing, or at least closing the half of the gap. If it's less than a 60-point gap, it has about a 67% chance of filling the gap that it closed. So in other words, it has about a 62 to 67% chance of trading around 13,032 if it would have gapped up less than 60 points. And it has about an 80% chance of trading to 13,069 if it would have been a gap smaller than 60 points. But today we had a gap up that was bigger than 60 points, and the momentum at the open took us higher, then sideways, and then a new high. And that's good signs of a professional gap up, where you gap up and you just cruise higher. So remember, the next time you're trading index futures, Dow, S&P, NASDAQ, or Russell, calculate your gap up. How big is the gap up from the previous close? And if it's more than 60 points, be careful. If it's less than 60 points, you're usually pretty safe fading it or going in the opposite direction. Good luck. Hope it helps. See you on the next video.